the second article of the Creed of Ecclesia Gnostica Catholica. And I believe in one earth, the mother of us all, and in one womb wherein all men are begotten, and wherein they shall rest. Mystery of mystery, in her name, Babylon. On a previous occasion, I have shared some of my own explorations into the material that surrounds and informs the first article of our creed. As I mentioned then, I want to emphasize once more that the meaning of the creed is not for me to give to you. It is a mystery of mystery to which you must attain through your individual effort, deep in the sanctuary of your own conscience and consciousness. All that I aspire to in the remarks that I present here is to provide to you some materials and ideas that have been helpful to me in my own efforts to penetrate the mystery and to grasp our gnosis, efforts to know what I believe and how it fits together with what you and I say when we stand together, holding our minds in our voices to say, I believe in one earth, the mother of us all. This is an idea that is so familiar it borders on the cliché. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the feminine nature of the planet versus the masculine culture of our species, our mother, from whose apron strings this civilization struggles to be loosed, the ultimate mother of fertility, on whose breast lieth water, whose cheek is caressed by air, and in whose heart is the sun's fire. Who could fail to believe in that? Well, it's a curious thing, but many cultures don't see Earth as mother. In ancient Egypt, for example, Geb was the father Earth, and Nu the mother heaven. The male Osiris was earthbound, while his wife Isis sailed the sky. In ancient Greek lore, it's true, Gaia was the earth, and the mother of many gods. But she seems to lurk far back in the mists of theogony. She's not one of the Olympians. Demeter and Proserpina were earthly goddesses, and they were important, especially in the Eleusinian mysteries, the most famous initiations of Greek antiquity. But these great old mysteries and their related cults were eventually suppressed by a Christianized Roman Empire, and there's no Mother Earth in the Bible. In the High Middle Ages, there was a woman who represented the world. Now, that's not quite the same thing as the earth, nor is it exactly the universe, although it is that same world woman who became the world trump in the tarot, which card Crowley retitled The Universe. The medieval world was more like society and then some, a mixture of nature and culture that meant all the people where they live. Anyway, the world woman mostly vanished, except in strange packs of cards, and sometimes, in the Renaissance, in ideas about the anima mundi, the soul of the world, an idea from late antiquity that was taken up by Hermeticists and other esoteric philosophers. Now, the Renaissance did see a renewal of cultural interest in the goddesses of the ancient world. But earth goddesses were not high on the list. The most popular of the revived goddesses was Venus, the Lady of Love, followed by Diana for chastity, and then Athena for wisdom, and Juno for queenliness. These were all shiny alabaster Olympians, goddesses of culture, not nature, not a Chthonian mother among them. Eventually this changed. In the 19th century, the literary emphases of Romanticism made a dramatic shift among the goddesses. Soon, Diana was the most popular, but instead of chastity, her significance was the moon, and the hunt, and wild places. Venus was still adored, but as often as she meant passion, she came to mean the sea, the ocean from which she was born. Athena and Juno were eclipsed, by Proserpina for death and the seasons, and Demeter for earth and harvest. And this is when we finally see, in English and other languages, Mother Earth and Mother Nature. The poet Percy Shelley, of whose ideas the young Aleister Crowley was to become passionately enamored, entitled his first original ode, The Song of Proserpine. In the year 1820 he wrote, "Sacred goddess, Mother Earth, thou from whose immortal bosom gods and man and beasts have birth, leaf and blade and bud and blossom." Similar sentiments appeared in the poems of Keats, of other romantics and their imitators. And this trend gathered force down the decades to reach its brilliant poetic acme in the work of Charles Algernon Swinburne, who is invoked as a saint of our church. In Swinburne's 1867 poem Hertha, a German earth goddess attains pantheistic stature, and she declares it in lines like these: "First life on my sources first drifted and swam. Out of me are the forces that save it or damn. Out of me man and woman and wild beast and bird. Before God was, I am." But this phenomenon was not limited to poetry. In the middle of that century, a classicist named Edward Gerhardt decided that there was a single earth goddess lurking at the back of ancient Greek religion. And gradually many of his peers took his Göttermutter idea seriously. A Swiss judge named Bachhofen argued that primitive property relations must have produced mother-based societies before patriarchal ones. And some anthropologists suggested that the religious conceptions must have developed in parallel with a prehistoric age of the mother before the historical age of the father. And in the ferment of alternative religions in the late 19th century, a ferment following mesmerism and spiritualism with occultism and theosophy, we can find Anna Kingsford, a famous mystic, author and lecturer, proponent of mystical Christianity, leader of the Hermetic Society, which was the seedbed for the Golden Dawn. Crowley called Kingsford a religious genius. She received many inspired texts, and in early March 1881, she wrote a hymn to Demeter, saying, "And thou, Demeter, fair earth mother, whose bosom the patient ox treadeth, whose hands are full of plenty and blessing, angel of the crucible, guardian of the dead, who makest and unmakest, who combinest and dissolvest, who bringest forth life out of death, and transformest all bodies. They are sown as seed in thy furrows. They are buried therein as the droppings of the ripened ear. From thy womb they come forth, and to thee they return, O mother of birth and sleep." Kingsford believed in that, and so do I. "And in one womb, wherein all men are begotten, and wherein they shall rest." The womb is a fluid environment. The oceans of Mother Earth can represent the womb of nature. Kabbalistically, this idea leads to the great sea of Binah, a mystical understanding. And understanding is also a key to that mystery of mystery in her name, Babylon. For the most part, the Hebrew Scriptures were edited and canonized about 2,500 years ago during the Babylonian captivity. This was a 70-year period during which a Judean elite lived and worked by the rivers of Babylon because Judea and Jerusalem had been conquered by Assyrian Babylon, which was in turn conquered by the Medo-Persian Empire.